What if I told you that one of the most fundamental tools in music production, the humble filter, could be completely reinvented? We all know the classic low-pass, high-pass, and band-pass filters. They are the bread and butter of mixing, the tools we reach for to carve out space, tame harshness, or add a bit of movement with a simple sweep. You turn a knob, a frequency gets cut or boosted, and that's pretty much the story. It's a process so ingrained in our workflow that we rarely stop to question it. But what if that entire paradigm could be turned on its head, offering not just a tool for subtraction, but a canvas for genuine sonic creation? What if you could literally draw the exact shape of your filter? This is precisely the question that Kilohearts seems to have asked when they designed Filter Table. It's a plugin that, on the surface, looks like a filter, but under the hood, it's something far more profound and, dare I say, revolutionary. The core concept is deceptively simple. Instead of being limited to predefined filter shapes like Butterworth or Chebyshev, you are given a blank graph, a table, upon which you can draw any filter curve you can imagine. This isn't just about adjusting the Q or the slope. It's about defining the very character and response of the filter from the ground up, point by point, creating something entirely unique to your sound. If at any point you just want to get on and buy Filter Table, there is a link to it in the video description below. Please note that this is an affiliate link, and if you buy Filter Table through it, I will make a small commission. This helps me to continue making incredible content for you every day, right here on Krannaken TV. So I would like to say a big thank you in advance. At the heart of Filter Table is its graphical editor, and this is where the magic truly begins. The interface presents you with a frequency spectrum on the x-axis and gain on the y-axis. Unlike a traditional parametric EQ where you add and manipulate individual bands, here you are given a pencil tool. With it, you can click and drag to draw a continuous curve, defining the filter's response across the entire frequency range. You can create sharp surgical notches to remove specific resonant frequencies, or broad, sweeping hills to create warm, analog-style boosts. The process feels incredibly intuitive, almost like finger painting with sound. The level of precision is quite remarkable. You're not just aimlessly scribbling. The editor allows for fine control. You can add as many points as you need along the curve and drag them to precise frequency and gain values. There are different drawing tools available too. A line tool lets you create perfectly straight slopes, while a smoothing function can soften your jagged hand-drawn shapes into more musically pleasing curves. This duality is key. You can be as wildly experimental or as clinically precise as your task demands. Have you ever wished you could combine the steep cutoff of a digital brick wall filter with the gentle, resonant bump of a classic synth filter? Here, you can simply draw it. This freedom fundamentally changes how you approach sound shaping. Instead of thinking, I need to cut some low mids, you start thinking, what kind of texture do I want to impose on this sound? You could, for instance, draw a comb filter with dozens of tiny, evenly spaced peaks and troughs. Applied to a simple white noise sample, this could instantly create a pitched, tonal sound. Or you could draw a curve that mimics the form and structure of a human voice and apply it to a synthesizer, giving it a vocal, vowel-like quality that evolves as you sweep the filter frequency. Just when you think you've grasped the creative potential of drawing your own filter curves, Kilohearts introduces another layer of complexity and power, the integrated Resonator Bank. Accessible via a simple toggle, this feature transforms Filter Table from a unique EQ into a formidable sound generator. When activated, the filter's curve is reinterpreted not just as a frequency response, but as a series of resonators. Each peak you draw in your curve becomes a ringing, resonant body that can be struck by the incoming audio, imprinting a distinct harmonic character onto the sound. This is where things get really interesting for sound designers. The resonator works by analyzing the drawn curve and generating a bank of bandpass filters, with the pitch and gain of each resonator corresponding to the peaks in your shape. You have control over parameters like the ring time, which dictates how long the resonances sustain, and keep tone, which controls how much the resonators are influenced by the pitch of the incoming audio. By drawing a series of harmonically related peaks, you can effectively turn any sound source, even a percussive click or a burst of noise, into a playable chord. It's like having a built-in modal synthesis engine attached to your filter. Let's consider a practical example. Take a simple drum loop. By itself, it's purely rhythmic. But if you pass it through Filter Table with the resonator active, and you've drawn a curve with peaks corresponding to the notes of a minor chord, suddenly each drum hit excites those resonances. The kick drum might produce a low, ringing hum, while the snare triggers a bright metallic chord stab. You've just infused a non-pitched rhythmic element with melodic and harmonic content. A filter, no matter how uniquely shaped, is often only as interesting as the movement you can apply to it. Kilohearts, being the architects of a vast modular ecosystem, understands this better than most. Filter Table, like all Kilohearts plugins, is equipped with a comprehensive modulation system that allows you to animate nearly every parameter. This isn't just about assigning an LFO to the cutoff frequency. The depth of control here is staggering and turns the plugin into a living, breathing entity. The modulation section is elegantly integrated, allowing you to drag and drop connections from various modulators directly onto the controls you want to affect. The classic modulators are all here. You have highly customizable LFOs that can be synced to your project's tempo, envelopes that can be triggered by audio input or MIDI notes, and randomizers for generating everything from subtle drift to chaotic glitches. But where it gets truly powerful is in how these modulators can interact with the core features of Filter Table. For instance, you could assign an LFO not just to the overall frequency sweep, but to the mix knob, blending your custom curve in and out. Or you could use an audio follower on your kick drum to modulate the ring parameter of the resonator, making the resonances decay faster on heavier beats. One of the most powerful modulation targets is the shift parameter. This control moves your entire drawn curve up or down the frequency spectrum without changing its shape. This is your main performance control, the equivalent of the classic filter cutoff knob, but with your own custom-designed filter response. Automating this parameter is what creates those dramatic sweeping effects. Imagine a complex multi-notched curve sweeping through a dense synth pad, creating a shimmering phase texture that constantly evolves. Before we continue, please like and subscribe for your daily fix of awesomeness. Oh yeah, and don't forget to smash that bell so that you are notified whenever a new video has been published right here on Krannaken TV. To fully appreciate the genius of Filter Table, one must understand its place within the broader Kilohearts ecosystem. Filter Table isn't just a standalone VST, AU or ADAX plugin, it's also a snap-in. This is Kilohearts' proprietary plugin format, designed to be loaded into one of their host plugins, such as Snap Heap or Multipass. These hosts allow you to chain multiple snap-ins together in complex series or parallel configurations, creating custom effects, chains of mind-boggling complexity. This is where the true potential for sonic exploration is unlocked, and Filter Table becomes a crucial building block in a much larger modular system. Imagine, for example, loading Filter Table into Snap Heap. You could place a distortion snap-in before it and a reverb snap-in after it. Now the distorted signal is feeding into your custom-drawn filter and the filtered sound is being washed out with reverb. But it gets better. Snap Heap allows you to macro-control parameters from all the loaded snap-ins simultaneously. You could have a single knob that increases the distortion drive, sweeps the filter's shift parameter, and increases the reverb's wetness all at once. This ability to build your own multi-effect units with Filter Table at their core is incredibly powerful and creatively liberating. This concept is taken to its logical conclusion in Kilohearts' flagship synthesizer, Phase Plant. Phase Plant is a semi-modular synth that uses the same snap-in architecture for its effects section. This means you can have multiple instances of Filter Table processing different oscillators or layers within a single synth patch. You could have one custom filter shaping your main wavetable oscillator, and a completely different resonant filter being applied to a noise generator, creating a percussive layer. All of this can then be modulated by Phase Plant's extensive array of LFOs, envelopes, and utility modulators, creating a deeply integrated sound design environment. While the creative, experimental possibilities of Filter Table are vast, it's also a surprisingly practical tool for everyday mixing and production tasks. One of the most immediate practical applications is as a surgical EQ. When dealing with problematic resonances in a recording, say a persistent room mode in a vocal take, or a ringing overtone from a snare drum, the ability to draw sharp, precise notches exactly where you need them is invaluable. It can be faster and more intuitive than fiddling with multiple parametric EQ bands. Another excellent use case is in sound restoration and cleanup. Imagine you have a sample that's muffled and lacking in high-end detail, but also has a harsh peak in the upper mid-range. With Filter Table, you can address both issues with a single, continuous curve. You can draw a gentle, rising slope to boost the highs, which then dips sharply to cut the harsh frequency before leveling off. This creates a much smoother and more natural-sounding correction than using multiple, separate processing stages. In the realm of mixing, Filter Table excels at creating unique sonic spaces for instruments. Instead of just using a standard high-pass filter on a synth pad, you could draw a complex curve that carves out specific frequency slots for the kick, snare, and bass line to poke through. This allows you to fit elements together like puzzle pieces, achieving clarity without making instruments sound thin or unnatural. Finally, let's not forget its utility for bus processing. Once you've mastered the basics and the practical applications, Filter Table invites you to venture into truly uncharted territory. This is where you can push the plugin to its limits and use it for things it wasn't necessarily designed for, but excels at nonetheless. One such advanced technique is creating custom phaser and flanger-style effects. By drawing a tight repeating comb filter, a series of very narrow, evenly spaced peaks and notches, and then slowly sweeping the shift parameter, you can create sweeping, psychedelic phase cancellation effects that are entirely your own. Another fascinating avenue for exploration is pseudo-reverb and ambience creation. Using the Resonator mode, you can move beyond simple chords and start designing complex, non-harmonic resonant spaces. By drawing a dense series of random, chaotic peaks and setting a long ring time, you can create diffuse, metallic reverbs. When you send a short, percussive sound into this setup, it will excite the resonators, resulting in a long, evolving ambient tail. You can essentially design the room your sound is in, not by modeling physical dimensions, but by designing a unique resonant frequency profile. The plugin can also be abused to create aggressive digital distortion and bit-crushing effects. By drawing an extremely jagged, chaotic curve with massive boosts and cuts right next to each other, you can effectively mangle the audio signal in a very controlled way. Sweeping this kind of destruction curve across the spectrum can produce gritty, aliasing-like artifacts and unpredictable digital noise. While Kilohearts makes dedicated distortion plugins, using Filter Table for this purpose yields a different, often more complex and spectrally rich type of grit that can be incredibly useful for aggressive genres like industrial, drum, and bass, or glitch music. So, we return to the initial, provocative question. Is Kilohearts Filter Table the most creative filter plugin ever made? After diving deep into its features, from the intuitive curve drawing to the powerful resonator and deep modulation system, the answer leans heavily towards a resounding yes. While creativity is subjective, a tool's creative potential can be measured by how effectively it removes limitations and opens up new avenues for expression. By this metric, Filter Table is an undisputed triumph. It doesn't just offer a new flavor of filtering, it presents an entirely new methodology for interacting with sound. The plugin's core strength lies in its profound flexibility. It manages to be a precise surgical tool, a warm character EQ, a powerful harmonic resonator, a dynamic timbral animator, and a chaotic sound mangler, all within a single coherent interface. The ability to simply draw the sonic result you have in your head is a paradigm shift that empowers producers of all skill levels. A beginner can use it to create simple, effective filter sweeps, while an advanced sound designer can lose themselves for hours building complex, modular effects chains within the Kilohearts ecosystem. It's a tool that grows with you, constantly revealing new possibilities. Of course, no tool is perfect for every single task. If you need the specific, authentic sound of a vintage analog filter emulation, you might still reach for a dedicated plugin that models a Moog or an MS-20. But that's not what Filter Table is trying to be. It is not a tool for imitation, it is a tool for innovation. Its purpose is to ask, what if? And provide you with a sandbox in which to find the answer. It encourages a level of sonic authorship that is rare, pushing you to design not just the melody or the rhythm, but the very fabric of the sounds you use. In conclusion, Kilohearts Filter Table is far more than just another filter. It is a creative catalyst, a sound design playground, and a genuinely inspiring piece of software. It challenges our assumptions about what a filter should be, and in doing so, provides a glimpse into the future of audio processing. Whether you're making subtle mixing adjustments or forging entirely new sonic worlds, its unique approach offers a direct and intuitive path from imagination to audio. So, is it the most creative filter plugin ever? In a world full of emulations and incremental updates, a tool that offers this much freedom to invent is, without a doubt, a leading contender for the title. If you found this deep dive into filter table as fascinating as I did, please give this video a like and subscribe for more in-depth plugin reviews. What creative applications can you imagine for this revolutionary approach to filtering? Let me know in the comments below.